children of all ages. Town Square Media and 106.1 KISS FM proudly bring to you your podcast champions of the world. He's the R to the O to the B. I'm STEVE. We are your hosts with the most, bringing you everything wrestling related from post to post.
I know you're under the weather, Steve, so we appreciate you putting your all into that opening. Welcome to another edition of Post to Post. We're covering Saturday's Roadblock special.
Yep.
Took place just a few days ago. We have not talked about this at all. I'm kind of excited about this. I had some highlights and some lowlights. What were your overall impressions of the show, Steve?
Overall, it was a big low light for me.
I agree. I had one highlight,
Okay.
and that was really nothing of the show itself. I did want to say it was fun and novel watching a new wrestling show on Saturday.
Yeah.
A live wrestling show on Saturday. That was kind of nice to me. I liked that. But outside of that, this show had really nothing. The wrestling wasn't bad on the show. None of it was really great, but nothing happened.
Yes.
And it was on a show that was kind of like positioned like, how will WrestleMania change?
Yeah.
Find out on Saturday. And nothing changed. And if you remember, that was my big complaint about Fastlane, the February pay-per-view, the bigger show.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a friend who missed the show on a Roadblock, and they like, what did I miss? What happened? You missed absolutely nothing.
No.
Right?
All right.
Okay, so you want to go. First of all, how predictable was the card? We called everything.
Yeah. That's my second biggest gripe of the night is how predictable the card is. We watched 3 hours of Raw a week, and we're on the road to WrestleMania. If you want to convince me I need to watch 2 to 3 more hours of wrestling, something needs to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And what else is bothering me is, so you can take Fastlane, you can take Roadblock, and you can take every Raw in between those.
Yes. More
stuff has happened on the Raws.
Oh, yeah.
The Raws have been the better episode
Yes.
when they should be the network specials, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that was annoying. New Day and League of Nations was fine, but nothing unexpected. It was completely predictable.
Yeah.
Jericho and Jack Swagger had an unannounced match.
Yes.
I enjoyed what Jericho put into making us care about it, because otherwise, usually you just have, if you're going to have a random match that wasn't announced, it's just two guys come out and they wrestle.
Yeah.
At least Jericho kind of cut a promo.
Yes.
And continued his feud with AJ Styles, who was wrestling in Atlantic City that night. What else? What was the next match? It was the NXT match.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, my network connection seemed to be failing at that point, so I had to stop and restart. I saw the end of the match, and it seemed like it was a great match.
It was probably match of the night, in my opinion.
Okay. From what I saw, I liked the women's match a lot, but I thought the main event was the best match, personally.
Yeah.
The women, I thought Natalya and Charlotte did a fantastic job. Although I thought with how much Brett was being mentioned and how it was in Toronto, which is Canada, I felt like he should have been there. He felt missing to me, especially since Ric Flair was there. Natalya was wearing a Bret Hart shirt. Like, it just felt like he should have been there. I know I'm a Bret Hart mark, but he seemed absent to me.
Yeah, he did.
I know there's a match in there that Stardust wrestled. Who did Stardust wrestle? Help me out.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's still showing a lot of talent, but that wasn't the best match of the night. I feel like I'm missing one.
You're missing one because it didn't happen. Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar.
That's right.
You just come out and, okay, I've got a tag team partner all of a sudden, and then the match starts, and no Bray Wyatt. He's around the ringside, he's a presence, but the match I was most excited about did not even happen.
I get a big charge anytime I see Lesnar wrestle, and this is the first time I felt let down by a Lesnar match.
And it had nothing to do with Lesnar. I mean, I think Lesnar had a good job.
Well, it seemed obvious to me why they did that, personally. I would bet the reason they did that is because they have plans for Bray and Brock at a later date, in my opinion, which is why that happened.
It should have culminated at WrestleMania, which isn't going to happen.
Well, Steve, it's funny you bring that up because I wanted to throw something at you before I review the main event.
Okay.
I was talking about it with a friend of mine, and while I know it seems ludicrous that this close to WrestleMania shaking up the card, but let me tell you why Dean Ambrose beating Triple H at Saturday's Roadblock show could have been a very productive move.
Yeah.
Because I believe the ripple effect, which we referred to on our last episode, could be resoundingly positive for WrestleMania, and I'll explain why. First of all, let's say you have Dean Ambrose win the World Championship. Then he goes on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, okay? So you've got that. And now I know, first of all, there's a potential feud there because they've been the brothers in arms for so long. Yeah. I know you only have 3 weeks to make something happen, but you could.
Yeah.
Okay? So then Brock's freed up because Dean's taken with Roman.
Yeah.
Brock takes on Bray Wyatt. Okay? You've got that, which is so natural right now because that's where Brock's feud is.
Yes.
So that's a better match, I feel like, than Brock and Dean.
Agreed.
Then you've got Triple H freed up. What do you do with him? You finally put some sense into the Shane McMahon storyline. Shane McMahon has no problem with The Undertaker and vice versa. Shane McMahon has a problem with the Authority and Triple H's wife. Put them in the cell, right? Put control of the company on that match. I mean, does that not make a whole lot more sense?
I mean, it makes sense. I still think that the Undertaker storyline is going to pan out over the next few weeks.
And then you have, in my opinion, Undertaker open for whoever wants to be the next victim. That can always just be a random choice. You know, it doesn't matter who that happens to be. So, in my opinion, having that bomb drop of Dean Ambrose winning the title on Saturday could have fixed quite a bit of a broken WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Personally, that's the way I feel about it. So
I'd have a similar fix. I would, having Dean Ambrose win, I would still keep Triple H and make it a triple threat match. Still freeing up Brock to take on Bray. And I would leave the Shane Undertaker match the way it is.
It doesn't make any sense to me, you know.
I think I still have faith that it will. It has to at some point.
I don't. I just and Triple H seems like the natural opponent to me for Shane.
Yeah.
That's who is, or Vince.
Yes.
You know, so that's that. But I did think, you know, Triple H's first one-on-one match. I think they said in a year, like since I think WrestleMania 30. I think it was his last one-on-one match. I think they said and that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the first title defense since the Royal Rumble. I thought he looked great though. I kind of really enjoyed when they did the false finish of Dean Ambrose pinning Triple H, but his feet were out.
Yeah.
Because I kind of saw the feet, like I was like his feet are under, and then it kind of happened, and I was kind of clued into what was going on. But I thought the main event was good. It had its intensity. Here is something about Dean Ambrose that I need to kind of reinforce, and I think I found a better way to articulate what I'm trying to say about Dean Ambrose. I feel like when Dean comes out during his entrance during the first quarter of the match, he's got his intensity all the way up.
Yeah.
And then at some point around the halfway, maybe even the 1/4 mark of the match, he starts to get really lazy, I feel like, and that intensity starts to wane. Mm-hmm. And when he does the moves that I like of him, like, for example, they were outside and Triple H whips him into the apron, and he does that little 619 whip around thing. But it just looks phoned in. It looks like he's not even trying. Or like when someone puts him into the turnbuckle and he does like the pivot and turns around on the rope. Yeah. It doesn't have that intensity that it used to have. Or same with when you try to knock him through the second rope. It looks phoned in. I love when he bounces back. No one else really does that. But it looks phoned in to me. Yeah. You know, so I wish that he'd just kind of keep that intensity throughout the course of the entire match. Those are my thoughts from the show. Is there anything I missed?
I think we covered everything worthwhile.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll be back soon. We'll talk about Monday's Raw on Thursday's episode. And in the meantime, for myself and my tag team partner, Steve.
If you guys have a problem with WrestleMania, all you got to do is believe.